Hi my loves, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Katora. Today I'm going to be talking about my journey recovering from crippling anxiety and depression throughout my adolescent years and into my adulthood years. This is a very sensitive topic for me, and honestly I'm getting a little bit nervous now that I'm actually filming this. At first I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Talking about these things is difficult for me because you guys will learn as I continue to share my story that I didn't grow up in a household where we communicated about our feelings. So being as expressive and as vulnerable as I am today has taken a lot of work and a lot of strength and desperation, and I I don't even know how I've become this person who just shares so deeply and in such a raw way. I just haven't experienced people who deeply express their emotions and their feelings, especially growing up. So this is a lot for me, so I ask that you just give me grace, treat me how you would like to be treated. Don't come here with judgment or ill intentions. I'm just here to share my perspective on this topic and share my story. I'm not a professional therapist, I'm not a life coach. I just share my experience because I believe that I'm a reflection, and I believe that we can all learn from each other if we are open enough. I'm going to be talking about some heavy topics such as depression, anxiety, self-harm, mental illness, and things of that nature. So if those things trigger you and it's not something that you want to hear about, please just click off, tune into some of my lighter videos, or wait until my next video. I'm like nervous. I don't know why I'm nervous. I'm not nervous, I'm just like, I'm emotional. Oh, I got my period today. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist that is trained to listen to you and give you unbiased and helpful advice. With BetterHelp, you can have your sessions via phone call, video chat, or even messaging if you're comfortable with that. BetterHelp can match you to one of over 30,000 therapists in their network, which gives you access to a wider range of expertise than might be available in your area. To get started, you'll fill out a questionnaire that'll help assess your specific needs, and then you'll get matched with your therapist, in most cases within 48 hours or less. If the therapist that you're matched with isn't a good fit, you can switch out your therapist at no additional cost. Over 4 million people have used BetterHelp to start living a happier and healthier life. So why not take it into consideration and invest some time into healing yourself? Thank you so much again, BetterHelp, for sponsoring today's video. I'm a first generation Haitian American woman, which means that both of my parents immigrated here from different countries. It's a very unique experience for those who have immigrant parents come from other countries and raise them here versus like if you have a family who has already had roots in America. It's different for everyone, but I would say that my family being the way that it is, I think that the fact that both of my parents are immigrants and both of them had the kind of upbringing where they had to hustle and get it how they live in order to get to where they are today, it has definitely impacted the way that they show up as human beings when it comes to just their emotional relationships. I do have a mentally ill parent. My mom suffers from depression and anxiety and PTSD. And my dad, he's just himself. He's an older man. He's from Haiti. I don't really think I have to say too much. If you know, you know. But like, older Caribbean parents are a very particular way. I witnessed my mom go through her episodes, but I wasn't really sure what it was at the time. I just knew that my mom was sad and that she was going through a lot, but I didn't understand it on a deeper level, obviously, because I was a child. As I was growing up, now that I'm thinking about it, like growing up, I was always known as like the emotional one, like the crybaby, because I was always just feeling everything so deeply. Like I was always just hurt about something. Like something was always bothering me and upsetting me to the point where I started to cry. My parents divorced when I was about 6 or 7, and that's when I stopped seeing my dad as much, and Like I said, I was very young. 6 is a very young age to be dealing with something like that. But I still visited my dad. I saw him like often. I didn't even really know what was going on until I feel like I was about like 8, 9. That was when I realized that like my dad wasn't gonna be like around anymore, and like the visiting thing was going to be my new normal when it came to our relationship. Yo, I really did not want to cry. Like I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to talk, but I guess that's what comes with it. Let me get some tissue just in case. I'm like, let me tell y'all my whole life story, but I won't cry though. Then I'm crying like, girl, you know you was about to cry. Stop it. You a fucking Pisces moon. Honestly, I can't even remember a lot about that time. I just remember that I spent a lot of time not seeing my dad and not like communicating with my dad as much as I would like to, and just I spent a lot of time thinking about him and wondering about him. Middle school, first of all, let's just say middle school, elementary school was hard for me. I was bullied OD, bro. Like, your kids are not the ones to be bullied by, because they will really hurt your feelings. And I was a big kid, y'all. Like, I was super chubby and I was a crybaby, like I said. So like I definitely wasn't the most likable person, because I don't think I was fun. Like, I'm sure I was fun with my friends, but I don't think I was as fun as I could have been if I wasn't so like a little bit lost as a child. I'll be so completely real with y'all. I don't remember a time where I spoke about my feelings in my childhood. Like, I don't remember ever having any conversations where like I sat down with either parent and was like, oh, like this is making me sad, when it came to like the more serious topics like the divorce and like my mom's mental health. Just everything that I was trying to figure out as a child. I never had the space to talk about anything really with anyone. So yeah, I'm gonna have to take a lot of pauses, because I refuse to sit right here and fucking cry. I never had the sort of conversation with somebody where I just had like space held for me and I was just told like, you know, it's okay to be sad and like I understand you. Like, I cannot recall one conversation like that from my childhood. Also, I feel like around that time I was rediscovering a lot of childhood wounds. I was sexually assaulted when I was younger. I believe I was about 5 years old. And it wasn't something that I remembered right away. I only remembered it as I continued to experience certain things and learn certain things in my childhood. And I was just like, wait a minute, this happened and that shouldn't have happened to me at 5 years old. I was processing that as well. And honestly, the older I got, the more I started to remember things about that event, and it started to affect the way that I maneuvered relationships. When it came to me like starting to date people in high school, I feel like that's when it started to really take a toll on me, because I started to have sexual relationships when I was about 15 or 16, and my partner at the time, he can vouch for it, like I was very traumatized. I just did not have a good relationship with sex or anything sexual, because I was healing from that trauma from when I was a child. The whole time I'm going through all these things, guys, keep in mind that both of my parents are pretty much emotionally unavailable like this entire time. And my siblings, I was close to them, but I never felt I never felt close enough to anyone or open enough to open up to anyone, honestly, because it just wasn't even a thought in my mind to talk to people about these things, because it was never something that I did. So I didn't even know that, honestly, I was allowed to talk about the things that I was going through. Early high school was when I started self-harming, and it lasted until I think I was about 19. Outside of like my partner at the time, my partner who was going through everything that I was going through with me, love you so much, but outside of him and outside of my best friend at the time, my family wasn't really around for a lot of my like spiraling, a lot of my episodes, a lot of the things that I was dealing with mentally. My family was not a part of that, because I felt like I had to keep it separate, because it just didn't seem like a thing that my family was supposed to be involved in. I didn't know how to open up to them. I was self-harming for a few years, and throughout those years I was dealing with depression and anxiety. I had crippling anxiety, y'all, like crippling. Like I would go days where I wouldn't talk. It was very hard for me to talk to people that I didn't know and people that I wasn't already comfortable with, because I had it in my mind that everyone didn't like me and that everyone hated me before I even allowed people to get to know who I was, because of my lack of self-love, because of everything that I had gone through and just the confusion that I was dealing with in my head about the events that had unfolded in my life and like just where I was at in life at that moment. I just really was not showing myself the love that I should have been, and so as a result I projected that onto other people, and it was really hard for me to coexist with people because it just was a really nerve-wracking thing to feel like people were perceiving me in the way that I was perceiving myself. I had to really like look at myself and understand that in order for me to take that first step into healing. I think that the first step for me was definitely just the awareness, just learning that like the things that I was doing and the way that I was operating and just the way that I was maneuvering through the world was not normal, and that I needed to really take a step back and look at myself and make an effort to understand myself a little bit more deeply. I think it just took a lot for me to understand that like I was sad and I had valid reasons to be sad. I just didn't know how to process them. My partner at the time, when I was around 18, 19, he really helped me see that the way that I was living my life and the way that I was emotionally and mentally was not okay. I was so accustomed to lacking communication skills and lacking emotional intellect that I put honestly essentially the people that I was closest with through hell and trying to be close to me and trying to be my friend. I was very emotionally manipulative. I would lash out when things wouldn't go my way because I was fearing abandonment. I was fearing being misunderstood. I was fearing being mistreated again. I projected so much onto my loved ones, and to this day, honestly, I feel a little bit of guilt from that because they held me down regardless. I'll forever have so much love in my heart for the people that were there for me during those times because I was not the best person to be around. My accountability and my awareness definitely helped me start to pivot and to transition into healing versus hurting. I was dealing with learned helplessness and victimhood. I was perceiving myself as somebody who was just hurt and who has been through so much that there was no coming back from it. And it became my entire personality. It became a part of who I was. And I really had to learn that I can choose to not be that way. I can choose to heal those parts of me. So I really had to just make that choice and understand that I wasn't the victim that I believed myself to be, and I wasn't my trauma, and I wasn't the pain that I was subjected to. It was just a part of my journey. This isn't something that happened instantly. It took a long period of time for me to take that accountability and to listen to the people that were telling me about myself and to listen to my higher self and understand that like things can be different. Like I didn't have to be that way. That is the most important step, because when you're depressed and when you're anxious and when you're feeling so much, it's hard for you to take a step out of that and to take a step out of feeling all the time and out of hurting all the time and to separate yourself from it and view it as something outside of you. I had to really tell myself that over and over, that like I am not my trauma, I'm not my pain, I'm not my suffering, I'm not the way that people have treated me, I'm not the terrible person that I've convinced myself that I am. I'm just hurt. And it was okay for me to be hurt, but it wasn't okay for me to drown myself in it and to let it consume me. I had to start somewhere, and in 2020 was when I feel like I had my biggest spiritual awakening, because I was so defeated that year. Like I was going through so much, y'all. I feel like I always come back to this moment in my life, but it's just such an important part of my life because I really picked myself up from the ground and allowed myself to alchemize my pain into something greater, and I didn't even know I was capable of doing that. But in 2020 was when I started to become a little bit more spiritually conscious because of the choices that I was making when it came to just me taking care of myself and showing up for myself and creating and cultivating a relationship with a higher power. We were going through quarantine in 2020, so I really didn't have much of a choice but to spend damn near all of my time with myself. It took a lot at first. It took a lot of spiraling at first. It took a lot of me fighting it at first. When I finally settled into it and allowed myself to feel, allowed myself to hurt, was when I feel like I finally started to heal. And I really had to allow myself to face my shadow and to see myself in all of my darkness and all of my light and to love all of it. My shadow is a part of me, but so is my light. So is all of the greatness and all of the love that I possess. It's all a part of who I am and who I'm becoming. And I had to really accept myself. I had to accept myself deeply and completely and utterly before I could break those curses and before I could break those cycles and before I could cut out those nasty habits. I had to see myself for who I was and love myself all the same. That took me waking up every day and journaling and expressing how I felt, saying it out loud, holding space for myself. I couldn't rely on other people being there for me at that point. I was 19, so most people would consider that an adult, and I really just had to like put my foot down with myself and tell myself that I was enough and that me being there for myself was enough, and I had no choice but to be enough for myself. I started journaling really heavily, I want to say in like 2018 or 2017, and it carried on up until today. I still always got that thing on me. If you watch my other videos, then you know, like I'm always got that journal out because it has really helped me not only release but understand myself better. Because when you're writing, at least for me, as I'm writing, I am able to form the words that I wouldn't have been able to form if I was just like sitting in it and just thinking about it. Like the words just start flowing and I'm able to come to a deeper understanding about how I felt and hold that space for myself, validating myself and making myself feel held. That was the most important part for me, was really giving to myself what I wanted for so long from other people. And journaling has helped me so much, so fucking much, y'all. All you really need is a pen and a paper sometimes. I started meditating a little bit before quarantine, before the year 2020, but I didn't really start getting deep into meditation and breath work and things of that nature until 2020. So when I started meditating, I started to feel more at peace with myself. Things just started to get a little bit more quiet in my mind. One thing that my anxiety does come with is just racing thoughts and unreasonable thoughts and thoughts that just seem to come out of nowhere. I meditated every day before bed, and I would meditate in the morning, and I would get up and stretch and do yoga and dance, and movement helps me so much. I grew up dancing also, so when it comes to just moving my body, I feel a spiritual, deeper connection with it. And that's why I say, like, when it comes to meditation, it doesn't always have to be you sitting crisscross applesauce, eyes closed, trying to quiet your mind. Meditation comes in so many forms. Dancing and yoga and movement in general is one of the forms that I resonate with the most when it comes to meditating and just coming back to myself. Some people feel like they're meditating when they're cooking, when they're cleaning, when they're creating, making art. There's so many ways that you can meditate. Honestly, I don't really like to put meditation in a box because I feel like it's deeper than just sitting and waiting for something or waiting for a certain feeling of peace to come. When I'm dancing and when I'm moving and when I'm in my yoga flow, I'm not even here. Like, it feels like I'm somewhere else. I'm literally always dancing. It feels so good to dance, and I feel deeply connected to my ancestors when I'm dancing. So moving my body again, getting into just being an active individual, because stagnancy lingering in your body can also affect your mental and emotional health. Your mind, body, and soul are all connected. So when you're moving your body naturally, you're going to be positively impacting your mental and emotional health. Movement has been such a great help in my healing journey, and I'll forever be grateful for that year in my life, even though it was a tough one, when I was allowing myself to just get deep and immerse myself in those practices and show up for myself, I discovered parts of myself that I never discovered before, and it helped me build that foundation and understand that if I continue to do these things and if I continue to show up for myself in these deeper ways, I can pull myself out of any negative emotion if I just keep coming back to those moments with myself. One thing that I did do was start therapy. We would just talk. We would just talk like we were friends. She would hold space for me. We would joke and laugh, and she would give me advice when I needed it. But for the most part, she just really felt like a close friend to me, and I'm forever grateful for her. I had to close my curtain. That sun was getting so bright. It was just nice to have someone to talk to outside of people who would be directly impacted by my mental health and like people that were close to me. I did kind of like struggle with opening up to people after I moved past the toxic communication. I just had to relearn everything. Like I had to demolish my old thought processes and really just relearn how to operate in a world that wasn't through a trauma lens. And my therapist really helped me learn how to communicate in that way where I can express myself, but it doesn't have to be in a way where I'm testing how much people care about me. I believe that therapy is something that everyone should give a shot. If you decide that you don't like therapy, that's completely okay, but I do feel like finding the right therapist can definitely shift your mental health. Okay, this was a lot, but thank you so much if you're still here and if you've listened to my story for as long as you have. I'm eternally grateful for you holding space for me and just witnessing me, honestly. Like I said, it's taken a lot for me to get to this point where I'm able to express myself so freely and authentically. So it means a lot if you've honestly been here this whole time and listened to my entire story. Like, that's actually a little bit crazy. I hope today's video was helpful, and I hope it's allowed you to feel seen in all of your darkness and all of your light. Know that you are not alone, and this journey, this healing journey, is a lifelong one. Give yourself grace, allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to hurt, and allow yourself to heal. Allow yourself to feel all things. Allow yourself to move through all things, to circle back if you need to uncover old wounds if you need to. All of that is important to get where you need to be as the highest version of yourself. And that's a reminder that honestly I have to tell myself still every day to this day, because it's easy to forget. But I hope that this video did something for you. And thank you so much for watching, you guys. I really love you. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in my next video.